Welcome back. Tonight it's July the 7th, about 6 o'clock. Everybody's gone for the day. It's still like 92 degrees outside, and I think it said 53% humidity. But we're going to keep working on the Shaggin wagon, trying to get it ready for the power tour. We didn't get a lot accomplished last night, but we got the fittings we needed. We got a pretty good array of some parts. Got some hoses and some fittings from Vibrant. Got the 45s that we needed for the return. Oh, got this cute little Turbo Smart manual boost valve. And then we got this. Something else we still got to work on mounting is this Motion Raceworks breather tank. Not sure where we're going to put it, if we're going to mount it up there on the firewall or mount it down in here. I think we're probably going to mount it down in here after we get the air filter hole cut and mounted, which we also got that. And then we got this alky control water meth kit to deal with. That's not going to happen tonight for sure. So anyway, we got a few things, but kind of give you some rundown on the car here. You can see more of the work that Brandon has gotten done. The exhaust manifold valve or header that he made there, he got that done. Escape piping done there, you can see it. We still got to fix the AC hoses. Yes, it's going to have AC. The electric fan controller will be mounted in here also. So anyway, we got all that done in the last week. And this is the car. As you can tell, it's real deal patina. The air filters, we're going to try them. Hopefully they won't restrict too much. We found these K&N ones. They're technically for a, I think they're sold for sprint cars. They got a little 5-degree angle molded in them, so we're going to go through the core support, let it stick through. That'll give it some fresh air ability and still look decent, and won't be cutting up the grill. This morning, because Brandon was going to weld some on the subframe connectors and finish them up, so we pulled the seat out and the old cheap carpet I had thrown in there just to drive it for a while. And yes, I had to replace the floor pans. And then we'll be doing some hush mat in here and some of that DEI heat barrier underneath the floor. And it's a 3-seat wagon. Power tailgate window. Here's the seat I've been riding around on. As you can see, it has seen its better days. But we'll do something about that before we drive 2,000 to 3,000 miles in a month. Here in a month. So anyway, we're going to get the new block off plate on. We got the correct gasket today, which they either need to send with it, or I suggest they send with it. We're going to be putting our fittings in for the turbos. They will go right here with a copper washer and a little thread sealer. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So anyway, we'll get this on. We'll get the car up in the air, get started on that first. We will get that mounted, put a fitting on our hose down low, see how we're going to route it up to this first turbo. Over here, we'll put a fitting in here, and then somewhere we're going to have a T and go over to the other side. So we'll get started on that and see what we are, or where we are here in about an hour. So I've got this up in here. back up a little bit so you can see it here. We'll get this snugged up. And I want to use that second port, this back one, to put my sending unit in, my gauge. And since my wiring's not long enough to reach here, we'll have to get us a little 90 adapter. So now we'll make this hose with a 90, and then we'll figure out how up in there we're going to route it to get it up to the front turbo. Come up in here somehow, and we're going up in here to the top side of that, so we may come in and up and right over into it. So we got this Vibrant hose here. It's black nylon braided, the Flex race hose. I think I got 10 feet of it. That should be enough. And then all the Vibrant hose ends, and I went ahead and got an assortment so I don't have to wait tomorrow. I got some straights, 90s, and 45s. So we're going to start with a 90 on this end, and then we will kind of play with the hose up to a certain point and see what's going to work best. Alright, here's one of these Vibrant hose 90s. So what I've done is I've screwed it nut down on the hose till the end of the hose is approximately at the start of the threads. We're going to put just a little anti-seize on those threads because we're going to be forcing it together now that the air compressor is off. And get it started. Let's see. A couple of 5/8. Alright, so what we did is, right now it's just loose so we can kind of play around with it, but it looks like, to keep it as far away from overall exhaust heat, we're going to run it down this, there we go, down the side of the motor. The sun's just at that right angle, isn't it? We can put a clamp up here on this front bolt hole if needed to stabilize it, and maybe make us one that will hold both of those hoses just so that it looks a little nicer. We may just throw a zip tie in there for now, and then we can climb up along this support bar with a clamp right in there up to the top of our turbo, up to the top of the turbo up there, and then somewhere in here we'll put a T and figure out how to get to the other side. So let's go ahead and cut this line to its initial length here, and then we'll figure out how to do the T and where to put it. Come up over here with a 90 into our fitting on the turbo. Just got off the phone with my friend Chris with Sunshine Nova and his YouTube channel, Sick Snails. So if we route that right and we measure it, that might give us enough left over. Now we actually have the first hose made. So, and if we need to shorten it some, we can do that when we cut it to put the T in it. So now we got to probably raise the car back up, do a little zip tie here and there, take out some of the slack from down below, see where this is going to want to lay up in here, go over to the other side, put our adapter fitting in, and come off of here going that direction. We'll probably come off and go down and maybe put the T down below. It's under pressure, so it's going to pump it up here. So we'll get that figured out here in a minute. So replace their picture of all the tire side. Right now the Hydro Boost brake lines and stuff, brake hoses are just loose hanging. I gotta reroute a few of those and stuff now that we've redone the exhaust and the turbos and stuff like that. Okay, let me get the car up in the air and we'll figure out where we are. Alright, so what we're doing off of this oil feed line, I'm going to drill and tap and put a clamp on it there. Just being kind of anal about all this, but it'll look good and be a little more stable. It's not going to want to just vibrate. So we've been trying to do this YouTube channel, and we'll probably get better as we go. That's the whole point, I guess, to keep doing them. But I try to mention everybody that's on the car, the products that we've used, and like the transmission. Yes, it is a 4L60 or 65, whichever one it is, but it's got everything that Sonax offers, and then what they don't offer, we went with some other aftermarket products, and it's got like a Rossler trans brake in it that I'll get hooked up, dialed in one of these days. But the guy that did the transmissions for me has been doing my race car transmission for 10 plus years, and it's Woods Racing Transmission out of Nevada, Texas. He does really good work. He's a racer, and his son is also the one that's actually doing our videos and YouTube channel for us right now on a internship from the university he's going to, McPherson University out of McPherson, Kansas. And they offer a 4-year restoration program in automotive restoration, probably one of the best in the country. And they teach a full line of true automotive restoration, interior, paint, body, 4-year degree. More on these videos. So it's a stock 6-liter with a Texas Speed cam and valve train package with the 317 heads and a couple of small turbos. So what are we thinking it may do? So we've got this one mounted, we've got this one done, and the plugs in, you can see them down in there, and that hose is just routed. Of course, you saw how it was mounted to the motor mount. So we'll get this thing back up in the air and figure out how we're going to get this other side and that side tied together. You can see there, we're going to come down, keep it away from the exhaust and the heat as much as we can. So we'll put a clamp or a bracket somehow on this pipe, and now we need to tie into this one. So right here would be a good place for our T. And then how are we going to route it from one side to the other and keep it up out of everything? Maybe just come across this lower cross member, tie it into, or zip tie it along with these trans cooler lines up over the sway bar and tie it into right there. We just want to keep it away from our crank and belt and all that. I got some cleaning up to do under here, and I don't mean just dirt. Some tidying, routing things, wires and stuff like that. Did some filming today in the showroom also, talking about our parts. and some of that stuff. We built the original building 40 by 60. My dad and I did. I was only 15 years old, just to play with our own toys. Basically, we call it play with our own toys. I was wanting to build a hot rod to drive to high school, and my dad was wanting to build another hot rod. That's his second. He has a 48 Studebaker pickup that we've had done since '77. It's been all over the United States. Probably got 130 to 140,000 miles on it. So he was wanting to build another one back then, and so we built the original building in 1980. And then one thing led to another, doing this part and that part for people. Hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do that? And that's how the kind of the business part of it came about. So we had a 40 by 60. So in 1980, that was in 80 that we built the building. Did some side work on the side, just whatever. I was still in high school. My father was a college professor, and will be 81 now, and or this, I say now, he'll be 81 in September, and he taught up until he was 78. So pretty good while. So anyway, in 1982, the year I graduated high school, that tells you how old I am. Old. We became Saxy Rod Shop. And then that's, from there is how the parts side of it came about. We started ordering, actually having more work to do and stuff like that, so we needed more parts and whatnot. And we're dealers for enough parts that I can't even keep up with them anymore. I gotta give a lot of thanks to my friends, Joey Truelove and Chris Davis, who have the Facebook channel Sick, S-I-C-K, Snails, S-N-A-I-L-S. Chris has a little 63 Nova, nice little car. He calls it Sunshine. And then Joey has really nice, beautiful 56 hardtop. It's got a small cage in it. Pretty nice little stout LS. And they've helped me a lot because this turbo stuff is kind of new. And I know the direction that it's coming in the business or in the industry, even in the hot rod stuff. So I thought, well, I need to learn about it, so when customers want it, we kind of know what needs to be done. So that's kind of how this idea even came about. Okay, the battery went dead, and I just kept working until we got this thing done. Let's see what we got done. We got the bulkhead mounted, the pressure lines up. We put a T in them here, went up to this turbo, and then what I just finished up was making the 2 drain lines into the new front cover that has the number 10 fittings in there. We just finished putting this last one on and tightening it up. We got these feed lines in over here. So it's 10 o'clock at night, 66% humidity, and 90 degrees. I'm ready to go home and take a shower. But one quick thing before we finish. Here's the actual tailpipes that Brandon got welded up. These are going to go right in under the rocker up to the down pipes on both sides, all stainless steel. And then after he gets through finish welding, we had the wrong wire for our wire feed. So when he gets all this finished, I'll Scotch-Brite all this, clean it up with some metal prep, and then we'll come in and paint it back with the KBS semi-gloss paint. That's what I did the rest of the floor with. Put all the cables back in place, all the brake lines back in place. And then tomorrow night we will start on the plumbing of the wastegates. That'll be a new adventure for me. Alright, good night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.